Boys and girls, welcome back to the B stream. Once again, it's me, Des, and this guy, Tim. Tim, we're at the end of what's been a bit of a long day with the delays and the changes going on, but this is the last game of the B stream. Chiefs coming up against Astralis, a team that many are looking at and saying may well be one of the favourites given how they've played the last couple of days.
They were pretty good when we saw them yesterday, and I'm expecting more of the same, if I'm honest. I think the Chiefs are going to have a rough ride of it here in what is our last game of the day on the B stream. I don't think it's going to be too easy for them. They've obviously just had a tough one against BDS as well. Chiefs impressed us in parts the other day when we saw them. There was, there was players there, Boydie bouncing particularly. They were getting around the map. They were really making it difficult. So I want to see more of that. I don't want to see them, give Astralis an easy time of it. But I think the big problem overall, it's not so much on the side of the Chiefs. It's on the side of Astralis. They are just hot right now.
Yeah, to go back onto Chiefs for a quick second, right, it's always going to be a bit of a rough ride. I think for a number of teams from APAC South who have been starved of coming to international events like these for the last year or so, Australia notoriously very difficult to get out of during the height of the pandemic. This is, again, their first time they're stepping into an event like this. So it can be quite disheartening to look and go, oh, okay, 0 points, getting slapped about by everyone, same as Direwolves, but again, it's about the experience. I remember us saying a good time ago, look, you might look at APAC now and go, not really all that good, bit of a joke region to many. Look at how quickly they developed and how close teams like Down1 Kia came to winning at Sweden. They were one bullet away from making it into the semis and potentially onwards to the grand final from there. So I think, if nothing else, this is great experience for these boys who have had not just time playing here on the stage, but also scrimming lots of teams from the region too.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's a real growth exercise for Chiefs, and I think they'll have taken a lot away from it. To be honest, you could probably say similar to for Astralis as well. They've just come in, they've come from probably a more competitive region where they've had chance to do a little bit of that growth before getting here. They're on home turf as well, so it's not like a big, cultural thing for them going somewhere else. Different food, different time zone, everything else. It's literally, just pretty much what they're familiar with. And Astralis are going very, very well at the moment. I think, to be honest, I'd probably say they're #1 favourites.
They are, yeah. I think alongside Liquid, who recovered after their defeat to Fury yesterday with 2 wins today, there's now a couple of teams starting to bubble near the top of that picture. But Astralis and Liquid definitely up there as the go-to pairing, it feels like right now. And the thing is, I can't really look at this team and go, oh, it's that one player that's really keeping them going. No, like a number of teams, it's starting to feel like a team effort to get over the finish line here. And we've kind of seen how that has affected a few teams. I look back to Dark Zero on day 1, the whole team getting involved, it netted a win against G2. Look at Exa earlier on today, where it was all about Kino for 4 rounds. Once he fell quiet, things started to fall apart. So you can't look at one individual player and say, well, they're saving this team. It is an overall team effort.
And it feels like that's the path to success in Siege at the minute. It seems to fit more with the meta. It's, having that team play, having that interplay, trades, playing off each other's contacts. And as you say, it's something that Astralis are doing very well at the minute.
Well, Tim, I hear it's basically time for our map veto. So let's see where this last game of the B stream is going to be heading into. We can rifle through these nice and quick as well. You guys are still the back bands of 4 by now as well. We've had a bit of a mix today, you and I. We've done Cafe over the last couple of days, Villa a couple of times as well. Looks here like we'll be going into one of those two. It's going to be Villa to close things out once again. So we had this earlier on. It was a very good map as well. Excited to see how it goes between these two.
Yeah, I think this could be a tough one for Chiefs. I'm not trying to sort of set them up for failure.
We go to any map and not say it's going to be a tough one.
I just think the reason that I say that is you're coming in against an Astralis team that are very good at the minute. They're going to have a lot of room. They're going to have, a lot of strats behind them here on Villa. It's a very strat-heavy map. It's a very roam-heavy map. And you've got to really be on top of your game. And I'm not saying that Chiefs aren't, but I just think any problems that Chiefs have are going to get exposed here on Villa.
Absolutely. Well, we are basically straight into game here. Both of our teams are ready and in the lobby on time. Congratulations to them, which means we can get underway with this fixture. Chiefs still looking for that elusive first 2 points here in the group stages. Astralis looking to really shoot for the stars and put themselves up there in the night sky. Here we go. Villa for the last game of the B stream here on day 2.
It will be Chiefs versus Astralis, and we will get into the banning phase. So each team will have the opportunity to take away 1 attacker and 1 defender, leave us 4 band operators altogether, and they will be unavailable for play throughout the entire matchup. Hibana is going to be the first. Interesting choice for Villa from Chiefs there. Obviously Hibana and Hard Breach, not really sort of massively important. Can be used quite effectively through study onto the study walls of Aviator games, so you don't have to go in there to be able to breach the walls. But Ace can do that same job as well. So an interesting one.
I think for this map, it's one of those where it's a... You look at it and say, okay, you got the Hibana for a really good, like, ranged opening up of, for example, Study Wall. You'd obviously shoot it in a straight line. The difficulty being if you're pushing from Study, trying to get Study Balcony, trying to get Study Wall open in towards Aviator, is you kind of have to arc the Selmas through the air and get them onto the wall. It can be hard to get that kind of connection straight through the single doorway that you have. But do I think it's substantial enough that you ban Hibana? I'm not 100% sure.
There's no hatch play. There's no. You know, I think there's probably more impactful attackers you could take out, is what I'm saying.
I mean, here in terms of defense as well.
Thatcher's available.
Thatcher's available, which is why I looked at it was like, is a Kaid worth a ban here as well? A couple of things we'll look at and go, question mark on that front. But we'll step into it and see how things develop from this point forwards. First sight in the game is going to be Aviator endgame, surprising absolutely no one, Tim. There was a short time on this map when all 4 sites were played by teams. Trophy and Statuary actually falling quite far down the pecking order for a number of teams, and Living and Library was picked up by teams like TSM. But these days, we don't really see it all that much. I think once teams kind of employed the, I don't want to say cheesy, but the kind of vertical hole where you're inside a vault, you open the floor up and you can see downstairs. Once teams figured out how to deal with that, it very quickly fell out of favour once again.
Yeah, we've very much gone back to a Trophy, Statuary, Aviator games sort of meta for Villa. Like you say, the bottom floor sites have just dropped out of favour a little bit. You know, like you say, we were at a point where Dining Kitchen was first choice for some teams. They were going straight down there, but not too much this time. Digital going to be reinforcing down in Library there. Likely to be playing underneath, which is an interesting position. Obviously, going to have Nitro in hand if it's going to be him that stays down there. It may just be that he's reinforcing and somebody else will be playing down there. We'll see as that goes. But it could well leave Astralis having to clear out that bottom floor, make sure that they're not going to be getting hit from underneath.
So one thing that was missing in the game we cast earlier on, I'm already forgetting who it was between. Was it Kag that we cast on this map?
Yes. Against
when we saw the Flores being brought along, there was no mutes coming in on the other side. And we won't ignore that opening kill, by the way. It's a good one to get rid of a C4 nice and early on onto Ethan, who was going for a bit of a spawn peek. But one thing we didn't see the defenders doing was bringing a mute or a Mozzie to try and stop the Flores from doing what Flores does best. What we're seeing here from Cheese is a very different story, though. Mute and Mozzie on board, denying away those Flores drones from coming in. They've got the Valkyrie on side, which is why it's been matched up by the IQ on the other. So lots of kind of utility wars for both teams to step through here and worry about dealing with. Would not be surprised at all to see things like grenades being consumed to clear out those mute jammers when they come up against them.
No, potentially, as you're saying, that, you know, that can be from underneath. It can be horizontally as well. Forrest is going to be on the rappel after picking up that opening kill. Gets himself up to the rooftop, maybe just looking for the upside down rappel, just a little bit of a relocation there. And for the time being, Astralis is still working on getting themselves established inside of the map. It looks like we're going to have some north-sided detention as Shuttle gets himself into the closet, looking to move through Master and into Statuary more than likely. So I would expect to see Astralis trying to build a 90 corridor presence at some point. We've got Bouncing in there, we've got Digital in there as well. No, Bouncing's actually playing underneath. Silhouette just a little bit difficult to tell there, but that's something Astralis are going to have to be aware of, because he could go up Astro Stairs. Worthy takes a ton of damage, but he's not going to mind as he takes down DP Fire. J90 manages to find him in the trade though, leaving us now in a 4v3.
Yeah, he's pushing his way up red, so control slowly being assumed here by Astralis, but up on the north side towards Trophy and Statuary, there was a man working down. I think it was Bouncing, who just got found out by Shuttle. So what could have been a big flank hit coming in, very quickly dealt with by the side of Astralis. Unsurprising to anyone, they are in full control so far of this round of 4 versus 2 until Digital goes a little bit mental, finds himself one out at the top of red, and has reinstated that push up towards the north side. That means now Chiefs have got this sort of pincer on the go. J90 finding one onto Boydie. Digital, the last man left standing with an MPX pea shooter, as we refer to it, against 3 players. One coming in through the window. May well find the shots here. Yes, he shall. Forrest with the shutdown. Astralis with a no-nonsense round 1.
Good start for Astralis and a little bit of a problem for Chiefs, because that's your primary defensive site. As we said, with, you know, expecting a good half from defenders on here. What I will say is if Astralis can take a commanding lead in the first half, be that a 4-2, a 5-1 from the attacking half, put them on defence, and I am absolutely certain that they're going to close Villa out. So Chiefs need to be careful to keep this one close, and they've just lost their primary site. They've lost it reasonably easily. 3 alive left at the end for Astralis there. They're not going to be going for a spawn peak at the beginning of round 2, so maybe that, you know, will help them a little bit. They're not going to be losing manpower as soon, and we're just going to have a little technical pause by the looks of things, and as soon as we get to whatever the problem is ironed out, we'll be back in with this one. But Chiefs, you know, not the end of the world losing the first round, but they're going to have to put the brakes on Astralis sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, and I think in this case, they tried to get a bit cheeky. They went for the spawn peak, for example. Digital did have that small outburst onto Red Landing, which regained a bit of ground. You had bouncing balls trying to come up with the flank up towards Trophy and Statuary. It wasn't without want of trying, and we've seen them pull this off against teams like BDS. Think back on Oregon, when bouncing balls dropped down through E-Box hatch, when they had 2 players flood down Big Tower stairs. It was a really interesting retake of a site, and I think they were trying to go for something kind of similar there, but just bled out members one at a time to the members of Astralis. I don't even put it down to massively superior teamwork by Astralis. It was just cut and dry. We shoot better than you. We'll pick up some freebies. End of story.
Absolutely, we'll be back in before you know it. We'll be leading into round 2. I think there's a good possibility that Chiefs probably choose to go to Aviator Games again. They're going to just try to redo that one and see if they can get a better outcome. Need to be more effective on the roam. Astralis very good at picking up exactly where those players were located, going in and finding the fights. And fingers crossed, it looks like we are loading back in now. We'll just make sure everything is running smoothly before we take you over there. And a couple of replays for you from that round. That was a really nice kill from Digital actually at the top of red. It was just very casual as he walked across. It was, you know, he was obviously confident of where the push was going to come from, and he just picked it up very, very smoothly. But in we go to round number 2. It is indeed going to be Aviator Games again. A couple of those Thunderbird healing stations, the salvation stations, going on the bar there.
Jacka's special.
So indeed, they're just going to sit there, and we saw Nesk playing in that position earlier, just in behind that bar, looking for the challenge out into 90, and you can also then have the view over onto Map Store as well, potential challenges into Study depending on what walls are opened up, and there's just plenty of opportunity then for that healing to keep that defender locked in that position.
I wouldn't be surprised if again you see a member or 2 of Chiefs trying to get disruptive out on the roam. You know, Ethan, I imagine, probably slightly drawn back in, not wanting to get his face up against the window, ready to get slapped off the spawn peak by Forrest, who was coming in from that side of the map versus last time. So at least here, slightly more passive. No one dying too early on. Chiefs will keep all 5 alive, and that's the good stuff that you want to see. Now, word is off roaming down red stairs. He did have a player up towards his north just a second ago. I believe it was bouncing, holding it up around Trophy and Statuary area. A very common roam that you'll see from teams is to hold up by the triple wall. Normally reinforce off a couple of them inside of Statuary and use that as kind of a base to start in, to force the attackers to have to drone you out, consume utility. Essentially, you're trying to waste time as that roamer, which is exactly what you see here, the right one being left soft. So just giving Astralis something to think about.
Shuttle gets himself up onto the rooftop rather than heading into closet this time around. Could just be while he's droning to make sure that he stays safe, so the Chiefs can't be jumping out and taking him down, and he's likely to. There we go, drop back down and try to apply some pressure to Worthy, but he's got bouncing, backing him up on the side of Chiefs, so Shuttle might just need a little bit of support if they're going to actually get into that north side. There go the Selma charges that I spoke about.
Hello?
There go Astralis straight in. Forrest going to be taken down though. DP Fire manages to get one onto Worthy for the trade. So we now find ourselves in a 4 versus 3 as Iconic gets himself going, opens his account and finds a kill here in round 2. Diffuser is down cold on the ground, but it's not going to matter at the minute as it's just kills coming in from Astralis at this point. They've lost quite a bit of HP, but it's not really going to matter. DP Fire still trying to challenge the man inside a vault. They know where the last is. This round is over. Digital's got the shotgun in hand. There's no way that he's going to be taking 4 on from here. Switches to the SMG, low health. 1 bullet is likely to do this. All Astralis need to do is push from both sides at the same time. That's exactly how they work it. And Iconic is finding that kill to finish the round off. 2-0 Astralis.
Again, Tim, just winning their ones. And I don't want to say it's disrespectful, but the confidence from Astralis, they completely ignore the smoke player on main stairs. They're like, he can shoot us if he wants. We're just going to run past him. They run straight through Study into Aviator. Sure, they lose 1, but then DP Fire's in a great position where if he had the diffuser on side, he could have gone for a plant, but instead, their attention is completely on frags. They pincer into 90. They hold the player inside a vault. They just make it look easy from that point. And again, Chiefs, you've really got to be aggressive in those kind of situations. Stop them taking map control for free, because for all intents and purposes, Astralis have literally gone, thank you very much, gents, and just marched into Aviator.
Absolutely, they saw the opportunity was there and they took it, and that's the sort of decisive play that we've seen from Astralis over the last couple of days that is almost certainly going to be taking them into the playoffs. I believe if they win this in regulation, take the full 3 points, it will confirm their position in the later stages of this tournament. It will also have the impact, I believe, of meaning that Chiefs cannot get themselves in there at that point, but obviously the maths need to be done when it all shakes down at the end of the day, and we'll see exactly who is where. So, heading into round number 3, it's going to be Trophy Statuary. Chiefs this time deciding to mix things up. They're going to move away from Aviator Games, not really been too close in their first 2 attempts, and it's actually dining. They've switched it. They've baited me there, Des. They had it on Trophy Statuary for the longest time in the menu, and then they've switched it out to dining. So pretty much going to be the same defence. They're going to be looking to hold on to that top floor and hold on to the Trophy Statuary master closet area so that they're not getting all those vertical angles opened up. But the big thing is, it doesn't really matter the site. They've got to start winning the gunfights out on the roam. That is the real key here. They just, wherever they're deploying men around the map, they're not getting too much value out of them.
I was curious as to what the technical pauses were there, so I reached out to our admins, and they shared with me a message that was filed by Chiefs to the admins, and they said that on Astralis there might be a bit of cheating. What they said was, Iconic is skilled player, but that is not normal. That is very insane. They need to check his PC in game. Maybe he's not cheating, but maybe he's using the game deficit, and this can't be seen on game screen. He needs checkup. So clearly, a little bit sus. The guy's been absolutely fragging out so far. 3-0 on his side, same for J90, but the whole team is just marching their way through. But Ethan, the angel from above, the angel of death, gets 2 kills for Chiefs. They get the shutdown onto 2 members of Astralis, taking them off the board. And now this is finally looking like a potentially commanding position for the side of the Chiefs. A little bit of work to be done by those 2 members from Astralis up on the balcony who had the responsibility of watching that master hatch.
Absolutely what Chiefs needed, a strong start into this one. And they need to lock this round out. The problem for them is, as I say, Astralis already having 2 attacking rounds. 3-3 on the half, 4-2 to Astralis. And they are going to be more than happy with that heading into the defensive villa. So Chiefs have really got to start nailing things down here now and getting round after round. They could do with 2 or 3 really back-to-back. Nade comes in. Boyde, he's going to drop away. He's going to continue the fight from Astro Stairs more than likely. He's not going to want to give up that top floor control just yet. With a minute and a half left, Astralis could still be very dangerous. They've got the sledge on the board as well with Shuttle there, so they can get some verticality going. And to be honest, it could be a method of getting themselves a couple of cheap kills into sight to just level things up a little bit. They're not going to be going upstairs. They're going to be going route 1 into sight here. They've burnt out the laser gate and they're looking to push straight in through the door there, but Bouncing, he might have something to say as the Nitro goes out. Going to catch on the wall. He just can't open it up enough.
I was going to say, that's very optimistic that you'll get anything done with that. I was also going to say, low faith in Chiefs that they can't convert a 5 versus 3 into a round win, but it looks to be going that way as they pick up their 3rd kill in the round. J90 now trying to push his way through here to find even 1 kill for his team to get things moving. He's painting him like an artist, Tim, but not actually hitting the canvas. Another kill goes across. Ethan returns to where he committed the crime at the start of the round, finds his 3rd, and Chiefs a much more convincing round 3.
Nice flawless for them there. That might just be the bit of confidence that they need to get themselves into this one. Of course, Chiefs will have been watching Astralis amongst the games as well as the other teams in their group, and they're going to know just how good Astralis have looked so far, taking wins against BDS, wins against Wolves, and really pushing every team to the limit so far. So Chiefs coming into this one, getting themselves around, could just be that little bit of motivation, momentum that they need to get a few more. So we're going to be heading into round number 4 now. It's going to be Trophy and Statuary this time. They haven't baited me, Des. They've gone there, they've seen it through, and they're going to be back on that top floor.
Yeah, just very keen at this point, it feels, to avoid Aviator and Games. Just realising, nah, this ain't really working out the way we want. Let's just avoid that site. The primary site on this map. Let's just skirt it as best we can. If they win here in Trophy and Statuary, I would expect them to have a reattempt at going back to Aviator Games, and if that falls short, dine in the kitchen. Why not? You've already shown that you can make Astralis sweat a little bit there. Here, they really need to get another round on the board, though. Astralis, you don't want them running away with the attack inside, because you know on defense, they are just going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. They've banned away the Nomad for the exact reason they want to get up in your face. They want to roam on you. They want to flank. They want to make your life an absolute nightmare. So you've got to get some rounds here in this first half, Chiefs.
That's it. It's the top and bottom of it. They need to get at least 3, if not more, if they want any chance here. Now then, J90 straight up onto the study balcony there, using the Gara hook of Amaru to just speed the process up and potentially leave Chiefs on the back foot. They could well find themselves challenged a lot sooner than expected. Digital on the Melusi inside of maps at the time being, going to dip himself away because he knows that the push is likely to come. Worthy tries to move up those main stairs, and what a long shot he hits with that shotgun, taken down in an immediate trade from Iconic inside of 90 though. And what an absolute beauty through the soft wall there, finding Digital, and that is a lot of those roamers taken out.
That very cute little bit of teamwork coming out of Astralis, where when you've got your Amaru pushing in, you've also got Iconic on the Thinker coming in onto the 90 window and looking to contest. And it's almost like a missing link for Chiefs there, because that's when you want someone supporting your player that's holding down towards main stairs of Worthy by holding around 90, contesting that window, and giving your teammate a good angle of retreat. Because at that point, they just completely abandoned Worthy and said, look, we're not helping you. There's no connector to help you get back to site here. Enjoy your trip. And what that has led to is Astralis being in a 4 versus 2, a much more commanding position than the last round, where they were down to a 5 versus 2.
Iconic getting back on the drones, just repositioning and making sure they're aware of what is ahead of them, what they have to come, checking red stairs, making sure that's clear. And we've got the case in the hands of Forest just on the rooftop at the minute, moving over to the other side of the map. So I think we're going to see some attention building towards Master now that they've got those couple of kills. It's going to mean, of course, that Chiefs are a little bit light-handed inside of sight, and it just means a little bit more opportunity for Astralis to get themselves in there and established. So we've got 1 in Trophy, 1 in Statuary, and 1 in Bathroom at the moment. That's how Chiefs are lining up.
Here we go. Ethan finding one back for the team to bring it down to a 3 versus 3. So despite the somewhat disastrous start, Chiefs have actually ended up in a pretty even Stevens matchup here as well. Let's see, though, if Astralis can make anything happen in these last 45 seconds. You can see Iconic once again returning into 90. They know there's someone at the top of red, so this basically makes it a 2v2 around site. And if I was a betting man, I'd say that really you probably count on Forest and Shuttle to get this one done. Iconic wins his 1 versus 1 and makes it a 3v2. Ethan, unknown, inside of the Bathroom, up on the counter. Sure, his mom's telling him to get his shoes down. That's a dirty place to be putting them, but Forrest going in for the plant. No one to turn around and stop him. Gets shot down by Boydie. Now they know where Ethan is. Can they go in for the hunt here? They've got 15 seconds. These last 2 members of Astralis looking to get another round on the board, but no idea what's going on. Iconic's round is going to end at a triple. Ethan in the Bathroom with the SMG, enough to get the close over the line. A nice, comfortable round coming in once again for the side of Chiefs. Astralis starting strong, but petering out towards the end.
Good stuff from Chiefs there. Forrest had the opportunity to get the diffuser down, or at least to attempt it, but shut down nicely by Chiefs, and then they just kept a real commander sight. It was those 3 players, Bathroom, Trophy, Statuary, they just held it down fantastically, had all the angles covered, understood where the pressure was going to come from Astralis, and were able to prevent anything that was going to win the round for the North Americans. So that levels things up 2-2 and looking much better from a Chief fan's perspective at this point in time. But they're going back to that dreaded AVG, Des. Can they lock it down this time? There was 3 alive for Astralis after the end of the first round, and there was 4 alive, I believe, at the end of the second round. So it certainly hasn't been productive for them up to this point.
Still very much the same lineup as well. The Mutant, the Mozzie, the Jaeger on side, the Smoke, all very reminiscent of what we saw back in rounds 1 and round 2. On the side of Astralis, I think they were also expecting to be heading somewhere different, as their lineup is starting to change a bit here. Bringing along that Thatcher that's been open but not really played because they haven't felt the need to bring it. But I think now they've identified, all right, Mute and Mozzie actually kind of irritating to deal with. A Thatcher would be phenomenal. Now they're bringing it along in this round, which will speed things up even more for Astralis in a game where they don't really feel like slouches, to be honest, Tim.
No, absolutely not. Worthy's managed to capture himself a drone with the Mozzie as well, using those pests well, so he's going to have a little turnaround of the information game.
Small bit of difference on the main stairs, by the way. Boydie's moved the shield here from rather than being like against the stairs itself to actually now being against this cabinet on the north, which means he's going to play a little bit deeper. He'll play on top because last time, if you recall, DP5 just walked straight in through Study, bypassing because the angle was a little bit too fine and was able to get in sight and kill a couple of people. Him trying to deny that here gives him a better challenging angle onto the doorway from Study itself. So here, hopefully, they can keep him back a little longer. DP5, though, he's ignoring Study and saying, forget about it. I'm coming into the side instead. If they got rid of the Selma, will they finally get it off the wall? Just about there. Digital, afraid of losing his life, but manages to keep the wall closed.
That's it, Digital just keeping himself pressed right up against that rear wall so he couldn't be challenged from the 90 window, and he's going to prevent Vault being opened up. And it's a big one because Vault is such an often used rotation separation between the two sites. It is a real danger once that wall gets opened up, and it's also quite often where we see defenders making a little bit of a last stand if they get themselves locked back in there. Ethan at the minute is going to be playing in that position, so a good job that they didn't get that one open, and well played by Digital. Now then, opening kill comes in. It's going to be Iconic onto Digital, so his days were numbered and were closed out. But Ethan still downstairs in the library area. He's going to move himself out potentially. I think that Astralis might just be aware of his position here, Des.
You'd hope so. I think there's a loose idea, but even checking himself, he can't see any drones. The drones are on the top floor at this point, Tim. They're doing all the work upstairs, as they should be realistically. There's an Aiden hand here that's coming singing on through, but they expect him to be upstairs. I don't think they know he's there, Tim. That library spot, he is being quiet in there, silencing the library, stepping forward with the machine gun, obviously ready to do some damage, but it depends when he chooses to move. Does he let them push first and try and assault up the main stairs, or will he have a different idea?
Forrest for the time being, just holding himself. He's thought about it. He's not going to go into study. He's watching 90 corridor instead. Potentially an option to apply a little bit of pressure into sight. Nobody in behind the bar at the minute. J9 sends in the decoy. They know that the option is here. There's not really anybody there to deny it at the minute. They can hold the angles, and there's the shutdown that they needed. Boydie goes down inside a sight. Iconic caught along the way, but Forrest has an opportunity to get that diffuser down, and I don't think there's anything realistically Chiefs are going to be able to do to stop it this time. No, there is not. There comes the kill in from DP Fire. Worthy gets one in amongst them there, but still, it's now a 3v1, and it's not going to be easy for Worthy. He's got an awful lot of work to do. He's off-site, and he's got to fight his way back in.
They just completely vacated site, Tim, and fair play to Astralis. Droned in, went, guys, site's clear, let's go, and just flooded in, got the diffuser down, found one man lurking, in which Iconic traded his life for him. It was him and Ethan going for the trade, but ultimately Astralis, again, just showing that prowess, the mechanical skill on side to march in, get the critical kills, get the diffuser down, and hold site in the post plant. Chiefs, that ain't it, Chief. You see him once again, that site, not for you.
They're just giving him a bit too much space. That's the problem. We've seen twice that Astralis have been able to just run into sight. They've been able to take that decision to say, right, we're just going to go here. You've got maybe one in sight, so if we flood it with 3, we're going to come away with the kill. And they have done both times, and Chiefs need to learn from that, really. They can't be playing with so many off-site, and those players off-site not really having an impact. Ethan downstairs in library, there's not really anything coming from it, so you're not even gaining from that. You might as well have him up inside.
I think the one thing Chiefs didn't read is when they lost main stairs, because I think it was Bounce who was playing there, got forced back when he was playing. Sorry, Boydie was there on the smoke. He got forced away. You said Forrest just kind of sat there with a diffuser in hand, ready to push his way up 90. That's when the drones came in and they were like, oh, no one's on site. So Chiefs knew that they didn't have control of bottom 90. They didn't really have control of 90 itself either. They had no vision on study, no real vision on site itself. It just gave Astralis an invitation to march in, a little bit too passive coming out from Chiefs. So something that needs to change here in round 6. They're going back down once more into dining and kitchen. The site where they had the most success, it was a flawless round. Ethan with a 3K from the hatch. Don't imagine you'll see Astralis making the same mistakes again, but Tim, this could be a wonderful display of their adaptability, knowing, okay, last time round, we got this completely wrong. We need that hatch control. We've got to stop Ethan. Let's see if Astralis put more pressure on that vertical and then worry about the site.
Round 6, final opportunity then for Chiefs to lock down this defence. We saw them do it previously. It's been one of the sites that they have been able to pick up. So Astralis lost a lot of men early in the round last time around. They found themselves in a 3v5 very, very quickly. They need to try and avoid that situation as it is this time. There's going to be immediate pressure coming towards Pantry this time from Astralis, and they didn't really look for top floor control last time either, so not too interested in the vertical. No sledge on side, so a limited capacity to be able to open that up anyway. They've got 6 soft breaches, so there is options there for them to get the vertical angles they need, but they're just not sending any manpower up to that top floor at the minute.
I'd expect to see J90 get it there at some point on the Jackal as well. The ITA in back pocket, pretty good for pumping your way through the floor and getting some good sight lines down. But for now, it's all about the Flores, as it probably should be. It's also about Digital getting the opener with that Outer, just getting his way through Forrest as he tries to step in. Still one more downstairs at this point, but likely going to move away and turn his attentions elsewhere.
Jackal just on the hunt through the map there, not picking up any footprints at this point in time, but we'll continue. There you go. Continue trying with the Inox, and he's just going to be...
them smelly socks, Tim.
That's it, and giving them away. He's going to find them there. The ping comes in, so that's at least one of the roamers tracked down, and they can hunt them down if they choose to do so, or if not, it just at least gives that location, that bit of information for them.
Shuttle as well in the basement. Ready for takeoff, just I think rotating his way likely over towards red stairs at this point, but no! It is a bit of a void down there, Tim. I couldn't tell you a single call out down there in the basement of Villa, and at this point, I'm pretty sure Astralis couldn't tell you where the assailant even came from. DP Fire working his way back up here as well to try and get some pressure coming in, but at this point, he's kind of at the, not the wrong side of the map, but he's out towards the west to focus on Astro Stairs. Sees a man upstairs on the hatch, and it just feels like a bit of hatch warfare on this site so far, Tim. We had the war out towards Master Bedroom last time round. Now it's out towards the Astro side of things. Just constant back and forth on where the action is.
Manning behind the shield is going to make the challenge, but Iconic comes away with the kill. Doesn't matter as the Razor Bloom is there. He has to back away from it, and Ethan is able to step up and get the kill. J9O looking to drop from the hatch potentially, and he's going to lose his life if he tries to take a peek. It's going to be Ethan ready for it, all up to DP Fire in a 1v4, gets his first, leaving it now 1v3, moves in through the laser gates, can't find the second as the head is there above the table. Ethan finds the shots, and that's going to be Chiefs getting themselves the nice even 3-3 half, but I'm a little bit concerned for them here. Moving into the second half, Astralis on defense, you would expect them to be doing better than that, and a 4-2 will see them with the win.
Very curious to see how Astralis approaches. Again, knowing that there is no Nomad on side, it's been banned away by them. Chiefs may well just double down on bringing along a number of Claymores. You can work it into current comps that you often see on maps like Villa. But again, in that round for me, I was quite impressed by Chiefs. They've really made good use of the map. Astralis, not so hot on the droning front, admittedly. Blindsided a couple of times by different players. We saw the one down in basement. You saw Ethan holding inside a master bedroom. There was no expectation of him being there. Just not really any lessons taken from the last attack of that site from Astralis. So chalk it up as a not great with the adaptation point, at least for that site. For the side of Astralis, so look at this, Tim. They're really going for a hold up here on the north. This shield giving you a nice challenging angle onto the window inside of Master. They really want to keep Chiefs at bay and just say, nope, no coming inside this north side of the map. You're going to have to come in from the south here because we've got it on lockdown here towards the north.
10 seconds remaining. Interesting to see Astralis choosing this northern side rather than the other. Shuttle going to be underneath at this point in time. Looks like he's on the mute. Nitro in hand, so that's not too much of a surprise. We've got a lot of utility downstairs, actually. DP Fire in there as well. Going to be supported by Shuttle just opening up some rotations, but a number of men underneath.
Only one C4 as well. You'd imagine if you're really going for this sort of hold, you'd bring along a couple more, but this is more a thing to stop you being pre-fired through walls to try and
stop the grenades as well, I think.
For example. Yeah, just to keep yourself busy, essentially, keep them guessing, keep them chunking through the time. I like what Chiefs are doing here. It's very similar from what we saw out of Liquid when they paid some respect to the side of Cyclops. They said, right, we're not going to try and play this with a normal comp. We're going to bring along a Lion. We'll bring along a KB. We'll really try and deal with those go-to roamers. And I think that's smart here, given you've got two players from Astralis down in the basement, a couple holding on the first floor, and then one or two actually on site upstairs. The best way you can deal with them is give them a ring, say, hey, where you at? Then go in and find them.
This could be a bit of a nightmare for Chiefs here, because whilst there is an option to dive straight into sight, they need to be careful because of the verticality. They've got the Nitro, they've got a shotgun in hand, they can open up those vertical holes, and it's, you know, the option's there because of how widespread Astralis are, but you just feel like it's probably going to be lacking in success, and they rather need to play into that roam and make sure that they're clearing it out, because as soon as they push into sight, they're going to find themselves getting flanked very quickly. Red stairs, Astro stairs, J9O gets the opener, but Ethan with a double. He's going very well so far over the last couple of rounds. Going to take a little bit of damage there, but as I said, they have taken the option of just pressuring straight into sight. They had the flanks locked down. They've killed people as they come back. Digital's going to get in and get that diffuser down. It's 1v4. And all of a sudden Astralis massively on the back foot in this their first defensive round.
Surely Astralis aren't giving this one away to Chiefs at this point. Not to take it away from Chiefs. 3 big kills from Ethan in the round. He moves up to 12 here. Absolutely flying. But Astralis not respecting or giving Chiefs the respect that they deserve. They've just gone, okay, then cool, you guys want to roam in basement? You want to stick yourself on the first floor? Fine. We'll march in, we'll frag out, we'll get the plant down if so required. But they made it look easy. I think here Astralis just dial it back to basics. You haven't got to be too fancy right now, because Chiefs, they will run away with some of these rounds if you're not respectful.
They absolutely will, and Chiefs taking the lead for the first time. They're 4-3 now, and the thing is, it starts to show maybe a little bit of weakness for Astralis for the first time, or maybe not the first time. Obviously, with Wolves, it went to overtime. It was down to the last round. A couple of the games have been close. I don't want to paint Astralis necessarily as a team that have just absolutely wiped the floor with everybody. They haven't. They have looked like one of the strongest teams here. That much is for sure. But Chiefs are showing that there are weaknesses there that can be taken advantage of, and they're doing very well so far.
I think both teams, I mean, we saw it from Astralis in the first half, not to make it all about Chiefs or to take away from the strengths of Astralis so far in this game. Time and time again, we've seen both teams utilize kind of, oh, there's a hole, there's an opportunity there. Let's dive in and make good use of it. Think about Astralis with the pin set onto bottom 90, for example, or when they identified that no one was on site, or where they just ran past the smoke on main stairs. Both teams so far have been very good at seeing where holes exist and then abusing it, basically going absolutely crazy, throwing all the resource at it and getting control of site off the back of that. Astralis now going down to dining and kitchen, so still avoiding aviator gains, at least for now. We'll see what the game plan is here. Again, only one C4 on side, so not looking for a heavy denial game. Chiefs still paying the same respect with the Decabi on side.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they found some value in it last time. They were able to, you know, help sort of curtail those roamers a little bit. So definitely going for it again. Although there comes in the change. Bouncing going to be moving away from Decabi and on to the Ossa. So that could be an interesting pick. I always like to see Ossa brought along and how those Talon shields are going to be used, especially on a map like Villa, because there's a lot of destructible surfaces. So the floors can all be shot out. So getting those Talon shields down is certainly not going to be a guarantee of being able to plant, because you could well find shots raining down from above.
I've never seen an Ossa used on this site before.
No?
I mean, Chiefs may have. They've definitely got the answer because they've found J90 already in this first round, or 15 seconds of this round. Quite comfortably removing someone. I think it was a spray through there, maybe a mount up onto the outside platform and then a spray through the window. You get yourself a freebie, zero complaints on that front. But how they make use of this Ossa here is what's really interesting to me. They can use it to hold angles upstairs and stop any kind of vertical play being used. They can use it to push in towards the site itself. But Bounce is the one currently that we're keeping our eyes on, and where he starts his push is no doubt where the execute's going to happen.
Ethan at the minute is absolutely fine, 13 and 3, running away with things for Chiefs here, and Astralis need to find a way to shut him down, because if he continues at this rate, it's going to be very difficult for them to pick up anything at all out of this game. Now, it's also fascinating on the side of Astralis. Let's not forget they're a team that are new to major competitions like this. They're in a position of clinching that spot in the playoffs at this game. And it is something that we see teams have a problem with sometimes, is getting those important wins. This is when the pressure is on. This is when the nerves are going to kick in, when you think, actually, this guarantees us onto the big stage. You know, this guarantees us into the knockout stages of this. So, Astralis, I'm fascinated to see. How do they lock it down, or are they going to crumble under that pressure?
Iconic getting a little bit cheeky there on the peek out, giving a little cheeky peek at him, but not losing his head for it just yet. He does now know that Chiefs are looking to push their way forward. The Ossa leading the charge, the spearhead, the front of the choo-choo train that could come marching through. But I think Chiefs, they knew how much damage Ethan did from this hatch previously, and are just being respectful again towards Astralis in case we do get anything crazy come out from above.
This is it. I think, you know, they're using the Ossa in the right way at the minute. They're looking, I think, basically to just get in through that door and just get a shield down and get a plant in behind it. But there's a lot of utility being thrown towards them at the minute, and that is a big play from Shuttle, just moving around the door, taking the opportunity. Iconic out of the window, and that is going to shut a lot of this attack down, Des, but there's been kills along the way for Chiefs as well, and they are currently 3v2 now.
Yeah, so despite getting a couple of members taken out, they have had a couple back the other way. So they are still giving as good as they are getting on the side of the Chiefs. Forest holding tight. Digital descending back down into the bowels of Villa here to move his way through. That diffuser needs to be retained and picked up on side once again here, because in these last 25 seconds, it's going to come down to a bit of a crunch. But Chiefs are the ones with the advantage. The clock, though, always ends up playing for the defenders, as Forest has proved.
Manages to get that kill. That's going to take Ethan down, one of the big threats on the side of Chiefs at the minute. Diffuser is in the hands of Worthy. There is an opportunity for him, but not if they don't deal with Iconic on the flank there. Just sat quietly out in Memorial. Manages to get himself a double close out the round, and Astralis level things up 4-4. And it just looks there's like yet another game of ours, as much as it might not have appeared that way coming into it. Could well be going a long way towards the full distance.
Yeah, I mean, for Astralis, I don't think it's going to affect their chances of getting out of this group if this game goes to overtime, or even if they were to come away as a loss. But for Chiefs, it can mean an awful lot. They still have that opportunity tomorrow to fight for a spot in, which could be quite exciting. For now, we'll see how the next few rounds play out. Aviator gains where we go to next. And Astralis looking at something a little bit different in their lineup here, Tim. They've got a Chanka and a Smoke coming along at the same time.
We've seen this a couple of times. When it happens, a lot of the time we'll see the smoke sort of off on the roam a little bit rather than playing the typical site-based smoke role. It sort of makes sense here for AVG because I think we potentially see Tachanka maybe playing in sight behind the bar, you know, potentially using that Shumiker launcher to get over towards maps, and then you play J9O down on the south stairs, which is often the other location that we see the smoke play. So that may well make sense. We'll see if that's how they shape up, or whether we have J9O getting out on the roam a little bit as he's not got the shotgun with him.
Yes. Iconic here as well is starting to catch up to Ethan. 12 kills to the 13 so far. Clearly not wanting him to be the player that walks away with the... But he got the most kills in that game. Nope, Iconic wants to live up to the name and make sure he's in the conversation as well. The one thing I do like about this overall, Tim, is the fact that there's so much stall, in a sense. You've got the Jaeger and the Wamai to deal with any nades coming through, of which there are 6. Then you've got the Goyo canisters, you've got the Chanka, you've got the smokes, you've got everything to stack up behind here as well. So Astralis kind of looking to starve Chiefs of time here by rotating through all that utility. 60 seconds left on the clock with all of it online still will be more than enough to see Chiefs starve out.
Going to see one of those Goyo canisters detonated quite early in here. We're talking at the 40-second mark that one is taken down. Obviously, just a little bit of preemptive, as you say, trying to stop that push coming in from Chiefs, shut down that lane, that avenue of attack. But Iconic, he's going to be a little bit of a more direct threat for them as he tries to challenge onto the window from Concrete. He's just trying to hold them down, but there we go, Worthy with an opener onto Shuttle. And once again, Chiefs putting the best foot forward.
Also pretty critical because you take away a C4 that Shuttle could have used later in the round for a horizontal denial as the numbers start to thin in this round, but that will simply not be able to come online. Ethan, had enough of staring at 90 now, wants to move off to somewhere else, so rotates himself up onto the roof. Iconic doubling down by the looks of it on red stairs here, almost too concerned of a push coming in to get the second ADS out, and then hightails it back in towards site to help lock things down.
Forrest just opening up those vertical angles inside of Vault at the time being. As I say, he'll be in position to potentially use those Shumiker canisters to deny a plant attempt. J9O going to find Bouncing. He's on the smoke. He's moved back in towards site. He's going to be playing on maps just in behind that shield. And again, that's going to be another opportunity to shut down that lane should they try to push from the map's door. Iconic rotates back into site. And right now, Astralis have been forced back. They're all very sort of tightly packed inside a site at the minute, and they need to find a way to crack this egg to Chiefs.
They do. They're working through it as well. A nade into Vault might be a good starting point, although the magnets are there. Going to catch that nade out and stop it having any impact on the players from the other side. Word is on the below as well. Death from down under. You love to see it. J90 gone. A 4 versus 3 for Chiefs and Tim. It looks like they could be able to re-establish a lead here once again.
It does. 40 seconds to go. They need to get themselves moving and they need to find their way into sight. Boydie's going to give it another go with a nade. Not successful this time. Doesn't get away with the same thing twice. Worthy, he's just hanging on that map store waiting to go at the minute, but DP Fire knows that that's going to be the case. Out goes the magnet and down goes the drone. He's waiting for the push to come in. He knows that the challenge is going to be there and it's just a matter of time at this point. 15 seconds. Time is critical. He tries to take the shot around the corner of the vault door, doesn't manage to make it, and here comes the push. Iconic, DP Fire, Forest, they all stand up well, and Astralis are able to hold on and close out that round, and they get themselves an advantage once again. 5-4 now.
Sometimes it does come down to winning those ones, Tim, and Astralis find the ones. They find 4 of them, in fact, and get the shutout, despite it looking pretty good for Chiefs coming into that execute. 5-4 to Astralis, and I believe that's a tactical timeout coming in here for the Chiefs. They want a bit of time to get things course corrected here, not see this game slip away from them, because they know this is the opportunity to still have a chance of fighting through to the main stage on Friday.
This is it. It's got to start now. If they take a regulation loss here, it's done. There's no way realistically they're getting through. They've 0 points at this moment in time, so they need to be taking something out of that, out of this game. You know, if they want any chance, like you say, coming into that final day. As it is tomorrow, it'll be, you know, if they do lose here, playing for experience, playing for fun, playing for the experience, you know, the enjoyment of being here at the Charlotte Major, but there won't be anything at the end of it. Whereas if they can get a win here, maybe they just go to bed with that possibility still in mind that there is an outside chance of them making it through.
The real war they'll have is that BDS are on 9 points already.
Yes.
Astralis are on 8, so if Astralis walk away with anything from this,
Basically, Chiefs need a regulation win, and then they need a lot of results to go in their way tomorrow. They're going to have to win both of their games. They need Astralis to lose. They need all sorts of stuff to happen tomorrow.
They actually replay against Astralis tomorrow as well, and also against Wolves in the last 2 games of the group.
That's it. They could have BDS just win everything tomorrow, and then if they won their 2 games, they would surpass Astralis. But it's a big ask, Des. There's a lot of, that's not just 2 stars, that's a lot of stars that need to align for that one.
Call it a couple of galaxies, Tim. Just give him a ring and tell him to get in order, please. It would do us a wonderful favour. It's highly unlikely, but we won't write out the impossible just yet. Oh, the possible, sorry. Won't write it off as impossible just yet. Now, Tim, earlier on today you made a comment that when you see an alibi, it's like, yeah, someone's feeling it. They want to get out there, cause some trouble. Iconic at 13 and 5 is feeling it again.
It is. It's just, I don't know, it just seems to be one of those confidence operators. Obviously, the gadget has a use, you know, not just in the pings that it's offered. If anybody shoots that gadget, if they're tricked in to the decoy, then it's going to ping out their position for a couple of seconds. But it's also a good way. It's sort of similar to a frost mat in some ways. It's just not as lethal, but it just prevents people coming in through a window, say, because, again, it's just going to give away their position immediately. So it's something that they have to deal with before they can push in through those avenues. Now then, Shuttle, he's playing underneath once again. We saw this last time around. I think really Astralis just need these roamers to be having more of an impact this time.
I mean, also considering they're on the alibi, so that's got a shield, the Bailey for the secondary, 3-speed, good gun. You know, there's just a lot going in that operator. But interestingly, some pros completely swear against it. They'll be like, oh, alibi, terrible operator. I'm pretty sure Fabian's completely against her, isn't he? He much prefers something like a Frost and goes, oh, if you play alibi, you're trash, don't play it. He hates, I don't know what it is that he's got against him, but he's just completely not aligned with the idea of an alibi at all.
I mean, Fabian thinks lots of things are trash, to be fair.
Including us, probably. Reloading. I think he tells the whole team regularly trash.
Yeah, he does, to be fair.
But we love him all the same. Let's see then how this round plays out. Halfway through now, in round 10. Astralis with the opportunity to move up to match point. 6-4 here means Chiefs have got a long hill to climb, and Astralis have the chance to jump over BDS in the group standings at least until tomorrow. For now, trying to look towards this master wall as most of the Chiefs are stacked up here on the outside balcony. Nades coming through to try and clear the players away or to shut them back at least that little bit further. And you've got Worthy once again being that death from down under, playing on the downstairs.
The battle lines are largely drawn here. You've got, as you say, the presence out on master balcony. Out comes the nade once again. Doesn't do any damage this time. Had a little bit of a better aim last out in the previous round, but he's not going to get away with it this time. Forrest just going to dump out one of those toxic babe canisters, just try to prevent the pressure coming in from the Astro Repel there. Thinks about getting aggressive. He can see the rope. He knows somebody's on there, but he doesn't want to pressure too much. So he's just going to continue using those canisters just to try and slow things down. There comes the throwable utility in through the window. The magnet grabs it, and the challenge is made, but no kill will be found.
More nades coming through now as well, trying to put some pressure through. Bouncing, leading the charge. Forrest holding off towards the side, as solid as a tree may be. Time will tell. The upside down repel from Boydie, finding him and giving Chiefs some control inside of Astro here. Shuttle moving himself back up north, but is he aware about the guy in the upside down repel still? Because Forrest has already fallen to him. Will there be a second victim? Maybe not quite yet. Bouncing, bringing down DP Fire, 3 versus 2. Shuttle at least starting to equalize the scoring here. Last 10 seconds, a 2 versus 2. Iconic hiding in the corner like a rat finds the kill. Boydie gets one, but I don't think there's enough time here. Iconic can just sit and wait. There's going to be no time left. We'll win by a couple of milliseconds. They get themselves up to match point now at 6-4.
I was just panicking for Iconic a little bit there. Ooh. I thought, get yourself out of there. You just need to survive. He didn't want to move too much because he knew that the player was potentially out in trophy. So if he exposes himself to the archways in the middle, maybe he loses his life. So he didn't really have a choice but to stand there. But I'm thinking, oh, he's coming. He's coming. There could be an opportunity for a quick pre-fire, and we do see it occasionally where people just strafe across and get that kill with half a second left to go. But it wasn't the case for Chiefs this time. Astralis holding on, getting themselves the 6-4, and they're going to be heading into dining and kitchen for what could be the final round here against Chiefs.
Better go to site points versus site for a point for both teams so far in this game. We know that Chiefs had a lot of success on that site in the first half. And it's where Astralis. I'm thinking of Australia at the same time and talking about Chiefs. All this death from down under. I've been thinking about other puns I can drop in about, you know, down under. Any fancy ones you can think of?
Is it all just revolving around down under, or?
Not really, just Australia in general. I used to have a friend, actually, many years ago who was a caster as well from Australia. And I always used to say to him, kangaroos and didgeridoos, in an Australian accent that I now can't do. So I'm not going to do it live.
Probably couldn't do then.
I can do it pretty well. In the same way I can do your accent really well, Tim.
It's terrible.
You and your laser gates.
Could be terrible. Could be the final round here as we get into the action phase. It's going to be downstairs, down in kitchen, but as you can see, quite a heavy presence on that top floor, J9O. We've got Digital Fire up there as well. Forest down in the basement. We've seen the basement used probably more than we really ever often do on Villa, to be fair. We see the odd player down there roaming, rotating around, but it's been a real active part of the defences for both of these teams so far.
Really getting into the whole Australia theme, aren't they, Tim?
Going down
Playing
under.
down under. Let's let that one sink in for a moment.
Go on.
Done. Let's see how things shape up. Stepping forward here then, DP Fire once again on the Goya, or not so much him once again, but the team bringing it along, looking again to play a little bit of stall tactics. And this time around, they've got 2 C4s, Tim, where for the last few rounds, the last 4 of them, in fact, I think we've only seen 1 C4 in back pocket. So a little more focus skyward here on the denial game being played out, at least down here when they're playing on this ground floor. No wackiness in terms of massive 3-floor spreads either. There is a couple of members playing on the upstairs, again looking to greet the entrance of Chiefs as they try and push their way into the building. But for now, a lot of it's about looking to hold out these perimeter rooms. The red carpet kind of drawing the line in the sand where they say, Chiefs, you may not cross. We do have reinforcements down. We have these long angles to contest you should try and step through. We've got the Goya Vulcan canisters set up as well. Lots of things to burn through the clock here, which again I think is quite a smart play. It worked out for them so well in the last round.
Just opening up those vertical angles up above. Not quite in the right location yet. Moving forward now. Chiefs just trying to get themselves in directly above the site, clearing out the utility. They've cleared out the roamers largely. Nitro going to go out, but that's not going to connect with anybody. J9O manages to connect though. He finds the kill onto Boydie. DP5 finding himself back inside of site now, and there are still Astralis players out on the roam, so this could be a big problem for Chiefs. This could be the start of the slippery slope that's going to see them going out of the Charlotte Major here. They are continuing to try, but they haven't dealt with the Astralis members that are in the basement, that are around the map, and it could be a big problem in these final 50 seconds.
They have gone through all the utility though, right? All 4 impacts are offline. They've got rid of the C4s now as well. That puts it down to Astralis to rely pretty much on the gun skill, which we've seen they've got in spades, and in most rounds have been far ahead of what Chiefs could deliver. Ethan really being the only one that has been able to stand up to them consistently so far. Worthy having the odd round too, but on the other side, it's really been a bit of a team effort coming in. Bouncing off towards the side, though, is going to find Shuttle and a bit of a freebie. J90 also getting taken down here, I think from Worthy off towards the side. So temporarily, it's a 4 versus 3 once again for the Chiefs. But Tim, that clock's in the last 20. They've got to make the move.
They do. Digital has Diffuser in hand, 4v2, and this could be an opportunity for them now. Needs to get in and start putting it down. They don't want to leave it too late. 12 seconds left to go. J9O's been revived. He's trying to do what he can. He's trying to find anything. Forest moves in and gets a big 2k. Leaves us now in a 2v2. There's Digital getting the Diffuser down, 2v1. The cover is in place. Can Forest come through big here? It's going to have to be a 4k in the round. He gets one. Can he find his second? He's going to have to move outside of sight. He's coming back around. He knows that the man is there. He takes the challenge. Is he going to continue fighting? Yes, he's waiting. He's waiting for the moment if he comes along.
The rotate. Does he know about it to the left? He must know that he's gone through. Steps across to find the man, but bouncing with a massive 4K. Keeps it going for the Chiefs.
That's going to be 5-6 now, and we go all the way to 12 here as Chiefs. They are making Astralis earn that position in the playoffs. There is nothing coming for free here as we find ourselves in the last regulation round, and it is up to Astralis to try and hold on now. They do have Aviator Games back available, Des, which could be the position that they need to get themselves over the line.
Very possibly, and I've really got to start looking forward to some of the impacts of this tomorrow, right? Knowing that Astralis come up against BDS in the very first game, it's kind of a shame that's not the last one, because with the feeling and the way the standings currently are going, it feels like that will be the decider for who gets first or second in this group. BDS play Wolves in the game after, and Astralis play Chiefs again in the game after that. Wolves versus Chiefs likely not really to have much significance. So assuming BDS beat Wolves comfortably, again, Astralis BDS will be the big decider in this group. And the more Chiefs can do to slow Astralis down here, the more they can do to stop them getting ahead, the less likelihood that for Astralis they can afford to go to overtime tomorrow against BDS, but instead just need a regulation win.
Astralis I think are going to be kicking themselves if they let this one go to overtime. 6-4 up and on the defence of Villa, you really would expect them to be able to lock one of those rounds down, especially for a team that are looking towards a potentially very good run into the playoffs with the way that they've been going so far. So they're going to want to assert a little bit of dominance here. They don't want to be going through with a sort of whimpered win in overtime, as it were. They're going to have Forest opening up those rotations inside of sight with the Tachanka, and the rest of the team are out and away around the map. Some of them not too far away. We've got one at the top of it's DP Fire up at the top of the main stairs. We've got Shuttle in and around red stairs, but they just need to be careful that they don't leave themselves light inside of sight.
It's an identical lineup once again, right? The Jaeger and the Normai for catching out the grenades, for example, but the rest is all stall tactics on the side of Astralis. I do want to point something out, by the way. For Chiefs, they've lost 7-4, 7-5, 7-4. This one now looking to be a very close game as well. They have kept these games close. Ethan finding one, but Forest on the jump out to Chanka? What? Never seen that one before and don't expect to again. But definitely one of the crazier things that I've seen so far at the Charlotte Major. And it's been a bit of a crazy one from start through to where we are today, ladies and gents. 4 versus 4 now. And in a bit after a bit of explosiveness in the opening 60 seconds or so, things calm down, at least for now.
Astralis are obviously very confident that there was only one man, that it was Ethan all alone outside of main door, because if there'd been a second, they could easily have lost both operators who went outside to try and get that opening kill. But either way, it is 4 versus 4. Finka off the board, so there's going to be no health boosts and there's going to be fewer grenades for them to deal with. They will see whether there's obviously no advantage in man count for them, but whether that operator is going to be pivotal enough or not. Bouncing, he's going to get J9-0, and let's hope it's not J9-0 for this round, as Astralis now find themselves behind in man count. They've got Forest with the Shumiker launcher out, just trying to slow down the push into 90 corridor, and Chiefs, there's a real opportunity for them here to take this to overtime.
Fun one for you there, Tim. That is the first Shumiker that Forest has fired all game. In the previous round when he played Chanka, he didn't use it once, just relying solely on the LMG instead, but in this round using it a little more liberally so far. 2 rounds having been fired up towards 90. Him and Shuttle both doubling down here inside of 90 and looking to do a little bit of work. And with no pressure coming in from the south side, they can sit here and just quite happily keep on contesting. It does mean the pressure might come in from Chiefs here, looking straight in towards sight. Shuttle helping out on 90 and getting a kill. Iconic going to go really aggressive here. Step forwards, has control of the diffuser, and for Chiefs, it might have all fallen apart here in this last round.
I think that's probably the winning play from Iconic there, potentially, where they manages to get one onto Shuttle, but they're going to have to go and get the diffuser, and that is what Forest is counting on, as he manages to get himself another with the big Tachanka LMG. 25 seconds left to go. Digital moving inside of sight. I don't think he knows that the position of Forest around this corner. Maybe he does. He's going to move around with the pre-fire, finds him, but Iconic plays off the contact. Absolutely perfect from Forest and Iconic at the end of that round there to close it out, to guarantee Astralis their position in the playoffs of the Charlotte Major. Congratulations to the North American team. They join, I think it's just OxG at this point who've qualified, and they are going to be heading through to those latter stages.
2 North American teams already in the playoffs. What a surprise there, Tim. A good performance on which to do it as well. I do, again, want to give some commiseration to the Chiefs too, because for them, I'm pretty sure that puts their run to an end. They now can't get enough points to catch BDS on 9 points in second place. They only have the 2 games left to go. But, again, 7-5s and 7-4s the whole way through. They have not been a walk in the park for any team that has played against them. And in this game here especially, I really feel like Ethan has put on a bit of a show.
Absolutely. Chiefs would have been deserving of points out of that game, I think you've got to say. Astralis did play well, particularly at the beginning and end of the game. But Chiefs, had they taken them to overtime, got a point, got 2 points, you know, you really wouldn't have taken it away from them, because they had a great game, like you say, Ethan particularly stepping up there.
Absolutely. Really big game overall. And for Astralis, the story continues about putting on a very convincing show to show us all that they could be a team fighting for a spot in that final against a team like Liquid. But who knows what happens once we get towards best of 3s. Everything can change. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, we will break down the end of that game and the end of the show and give you an update on the standings overall, so don't go anywhere. Yeah. What before talent prediction, sorry? The groups. Sorry, I was going to say, what before talent prediction? Do you want to do all the groups as kind of an overview as to fine?
There are civilians out there who need us. They can't fight back. They can't escape. And they can't heal their own wounds. That's our job. And we're the best at it. By being careful and compassionate, we can make the world a safer place for everyone. We do this to be of service. And we can't afford to be complacent. When we go out there, we work twice as hard to protect others. Whatever we have to do, we put the people first. That will be our focus. With unwavering diligence, we defend. And we get to say that when Wolfguard is on the field, things will be different.
Welcome back to the B stream, and we have just about ended our day here. Astralis handing Chiefs a 7-5 defeat. Again for Chiefs, I've got to give them a bit of a shout out. 7-5 and 7-4 results the whole way through so far. They cannot get into playoffs, but they have put on a show from start to finish, Tim. We've got a few replays to bounce through in just a second as well. And some standout moments for you in that game, Tim. Any that really come to mind?
I think we keep mentioning, but just Ethan throughout. But iconic as well, not just in number. It's easy to pick him because he had a lot of kills, but it's not about the number of kills. It was about the nature of a few of them. Like I said at the end there, Forest and Iconic played that 2v1 absolutely beautifully to guarantee themselves the kill with the diffuser down on the ground. Forest had big moments in that last round as well on the Tachanka, but yeah, for me, Iconic, real standout player so far there.
I think for Astralis throughout the game, as early as like round 2, we did see these really cute little like 2v1 plays. Think about the pinch onto Worthy, where Iconic came in through 90 window. They had one step in through study doorway and challenged him at exactly the same time. We saw it towards the close of the game too. And those small bits of teamwork that are incredibly obvious, people look at it and go, oh, well, it's not that complicated. You'd be surprised how many pro teams really struggle to get those things right, like playing off the back of a drone and the information it gives you, or pinching onto a player who is very clearly out of position. You know, I think the real skill comes in having the fundamentals right. Not everything has got to be big, flashy 5-man plays. Sometimes it's these 2v1s or even 2v2s, and playing for trades like you saw just on the screen that can really make a team fantastic.
It is, and that's, you know, it's those basics. It's all right having your flashy moments, like you say, but it's those basics that win your tournaments. It's as simple as that. If you're doing that consistently, game to game to game, you're going to win more than you lose. 25 kills between Forest and Iconic there. No surprises at all. And just a good performance from Astralis. I think they'll maybe, you know, in the cold light of day, think there's a couple of rounds maybe that they didn't need to lose there, but Chiefs certainly came and won those rounds. They took them away from them.
There were some close rounds as well. Think about Iconic's like, what, extra 500 milliseconds, and they'd have lost the round potentially with the 1v1 actually taking place. Do want to rage towards Ethan and Worthy here as well, because 6-1 overall on the entry. That is a really good show on the entry side of things against one of the most prolific teams that we have in North America.
Absolutely, that, you know, they were coming in there and just really setting the round up for their team. You know, that's all you can ask for.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. We'll come back to us, and in a second we'll start taking a look through the groups as well, so you can see how things have shaped up overall today and where we currently find ourselves. Because Tim, these group stages are quick. Our last tournament was SI. That's a full nice 7 days, but here it's only 3. We have a break day and then 3 days of play.